You're gonna get an open dialog box. I want you to click on your desktop icon on the left, and then down in here, there's going to be a Photoshop file folder. You're going to wrong one, excuse me, not the Photoshop file folder, the Photocomp class file folder. And let's all pick an image here that we're going to play with, and let's pick this IMG 2048 JPEG. It's a picture of lily pads. Pick that one and click open. So these are just photographs of mine that I've thrown in size, okay? But image size could also mean that you want it to be 8 inches wide by 10 inches tall to make an 8 by 10 at some resolution in pixels per inch. So we're going to talk about all of that, and there's a dialog box that we're going to spend quite a bit of time in. Choose image size, okay? When you choose image size, this image is going to show you its pixel dimensions, okay? So, is this a high resolution image or is this a low resolution image, do you think? Take a look at it and see if you can tell me what you think it is. Look at this information.
Is it low?
It's exceedingly low, okay? So this image has 1,000 pixels wide, so there's pixel, 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 all 1,000 wide, okay? And it's 750 pixels tall. And this is checked. I want you to uncheck it by clicking on it, okay? Mine was checked, so I'm going to uncheck it. When you uncheck it by clicking on it down there, notice your pixel dimensions no longer have white backgrounds, which means those numbers cannot change now. So we're going to talk about resampling in a minute, okay? But right now, I can't change these numbers right here. So this is what this image has, period, okay? I can adjust the document size if I want, but these numbers can't be changed. Now, of course, I could check this box again, allowing me to resample the image and make those anything that I want to make them, but then it's all a big lie, okay? You have to realize that whenever there's bicubic, and there's just a bunch of bicubic choices here that have slight different nuances in how they deal with images, okay? From the original image. So they may end up being green, but it's going to be a made-up green, okay? It's going to be a green based on this. Nearest neighbor says, okay, here I am. I'm one of the new pixels and I have no color. I'm going to look this direction, and I'm going to find the nearest pixel to me that has color, not necessarily a native color, but has color, and I'm going to make myself the same color as that. So if there are 3 pixels this way and 2 pixels this way, I'm going to pick that one and make myself the same color as that. And then the guy next to me probably looks at me as being the next one and makes himself the same color as me. And then the woman there probably looks at that one and makes herself the same color as this one. You see what I'm saying? Okay? That's what nearest neighbor does. Okay? Nearest neighbor can be good if it's a very simple picture with a lot of text in it, or sharp lines, like if it was a pen and ink drawing or something like that. It would work for that because there's basically only black pen and white paper, and so that could still manage to keep its edges sharp, okay? Because if it was close to a black one, it would make itself black, and presumably all the ones ahead of it and below it would also make themselves black, and so you'd still maintain a sharp edge there. But in a blended photograph like you're looking at on this screen, not so much, okay? Now, bilinear says, I'm an empty pixel here that needs to color myself. I'm going to look at the next pixel in this direction that has color, and also going to look at the next pixel in this direction that has color, and I'm going to mix those 2 colors and color myself that color, okay? That's what bilinear does. It looks right, it looks bitmap, grayscale, duotone, index color, RGB color, CMYK color, lab channel, lab color, and multi-channel. I'm not going to talk about lab color and multi-channel. There are advanced concepts. Don't need to confuse you with it right now, okay? So, right now, this is an RGB color image, and it's using 8 bits per channel, okay? So, 8 bits per channel times 3 is 24-bit, and Photoshop is a 24-bit image editing program, okay? So that's based on an RGB image at 8 bits per channel. Math makes sense, okay? So, Photoshop can understand 16 bits per channel, and it can also understand 32 bits per channel, But the reality is there are no printing devices and not really any scanning devices that really truly understand 16-bit or 32-bit, but many monitors can show the difference, but studies have shown that our eyes can't see the difference, okay? So I'm gonna tell you right off, don't bother with 16-bit or 32-bit per channel. It's going to limit what you can do with your image, because Photoshop can handle only so much of it. And Photoshop is a state-of-the-art thing, by the way, okay? And 8 bits per channel is more than sufficient for anything that we might be thinking of in terms of a photograph that we're gonna view visually or print out or see on a screen or anything like that. So take my word for it, I beg of you, 8 bits per channel is the way to go. Scanner manufacturer, you might be set to non-duotone, so change the type to duotone. There's a drop-down arrow there. Okay, so yours says, oh, you got it, good. And then click the second box and pick a color from the color picker, okay? And I'm gonna go into my blues, and I'm gonna pick a medium blue here and say okay, and now my image has that kind of purplish medium blue going on with it, okay? So this can be artistic, but if you pick a dark gray duotone, you're gonna see that it's gonna really bring your image to be dark and rich and clear, and then it prints out beautifully in a photo book and looks beautifully, lusciously black and white, okay? So it's something that we learned long ago. So Photoshop gives you all this great ability to do this. Love, 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 contrast. So one of the things I'm always doing in my post-processing is I'm always upping the contrast, because your camera, if the light is relatively smooth and even, like it is on most days, your camera is going to try to make a vanilla, non-contrasty, very normal image. All of your phones do this all the time, okay? But most cameras do it also. I always like a little bit more contrast, so one of the things I do with all of my images is I adjust my contrast. This image is already what most people would consider to be sufficiently contrast, and some people would say this image is a little bit too contrasty, okay? Because I took it on a morning as the fog was lifting and the sun was starting to shine in, so I've got the light of the sun here, but no sun there, and dark water and all of this kind of stuff. And a lot of people would say that image is already contrasting, and my attitude is, nah, not enough, okay? All right, so I don't mean that you have to raise the contrast on an image. I think you need to come in here and play with it to see if it's going to make it better. Now that said, I'm also a very visual person, so I generally have an idea and get into the blues a little bit, okay? It doesn't make the yellows go away, but it makes the yellows closer to blue. And I can look at this and I say, oh, I need to get the red out of it too and get more cyan, and as I do that, I'm starting to get more into that coolness color, yet with all of the bright contrast. And you can look at this and want to run out and throw up in the hallway, or you can look at it and say, boy, he's onto something here, it depends on your point of view, and maybe how open to ideas you are, okay? And then, finally, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go with magenta and bring in some magenta there, and as I get really well down in the magenta, completely changes it like that, and look how different this image looks right now. Good or bad, like it or not, I'm able to do these kind of things with it, okay? And then I could go in and I could pick my greens, and I could desaturate my greens and have them get almost into grayscale, still with a little hint of green, and I've got a totally different looking image here, okay? Right after a rainy day, when the cloud cover is really, really deep, because I process almost all of my images, I've never had